Colton, I don't know. So I don't know if I told you this before, but my clicky keyboard that has been banned from use during the podcast is a little under the weather right now.
What do you mean it's under the weather? I mean, it was been banned. Are you still using it?
I can't use it right now because the keyboard's fine except for one part. It's a single key does not work, and it's the tab key. And I use the tab key far too much.
Yep.
I can't
Unusable
work around
the tab key.
It is unusable. So I'm working with their support team. I'm hoping they're gonna, it's like under warranty. They should send me a new one.
Well, you want them to send you a new loud ass clicky keyboard?
Yes, I paid them for the keyboard.
No, but you say, hey, look, the tab button doesn't work. I need you to send me the silent keyboard version of this.
But no. Work is unfulfilling without a loud keyboard.
Okay.
The only way that I know I'm getting things done is the clickety clack of the typewriter keyboard.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
And people in the other room know you're working too.
Oh, sure, exactly. Oh, he must be doing something. He's not just taking a nap in the other room. Yeah.
I've had employees infer that I am upset by the way that I type.
I think that's probably very fair.
It's not at all. It's just how I type.
Very angrily on your clickety clack.
Exactly. They just think I'm super pissed off all the time. I'm just a loud typer. Makes me feel good. It's fulfilling.
Now, Joe, do you have a like a SpongeBob SquarePants soft keyboard? Or do you just not? Do you just not type when you're on the pod now?
No. So I got the implant, and it's Bluetooth up into my mind.
Just straight to your brain.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks, Elon.
I mean, we had a problem and you solved it. We appreciate that.
Yes. Yeah.
Got the implant.
I've been DMing Musk, and he's said, just don't talk to. If the FDA calls, do not answer them.
Yeah, it's fine. One copy to the computer, one copy to the NSA. It's perfect.
Exactly. And I'm assuming the NSA will pipe those over to the National Archives. I don't know how that works, but
well, I mean, when important things like this podcast are happening, you can only assume that's the case.
Yes.
It's all going to the National Archives.
I'm assuming the National Archives are going to have our show, I guess, on vinyl, right?
Well, yeah. When they shoot the bot up into space with all of human knowledge on it, we are definitely a part of that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, so where's the Podcasting Hall of Fame?
It's a good question.
I don't think it's been started yet. I think we should probably get on that.
We probably should.
At the very least, we can meet our favorite podcasters.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I'm sure the listeners don't know this, but when you asked about the Undebeatables on chat, was it Chat TP?
Chat TP.
Whatever it is, you leave me alone. It's the AI bot. You asked about the Undebeatables, and it said that it's Joey Gaffrida, John Harper, Jason Triplett, and another former host. Talk about the Indiana Pacers. It wasn't even another host. It was another former
host. Yeah. No, we've been teasing you all week about how we fixed the glitch. So.
I'm saying, did you guys just feed it the former just so that you would secretly tell me that I've been fired?
Well, one of the whimsical things about ChatGPT is no matter how many times you tell it it's wrong, it's convinced it's right. Yeah.
Also, my favorite thing is that it says that Joey's a music teacher and a famous musician, and that Jason Triplett, also known as the Doctor, is a lawyer. Which is helpful. Yeah.
JD, PhD.
Harper, what were you?
I've got a secret Canadian family or something.
Oh, you are a husband and a father for sure.
He's a writer and editor who's written for various publications, including ESPN.com and Slam Magazine.
Whoa!
He's also a husband and father.
Yeah. I'm waiting for them royalties, ESPN.
Secret family. Love it. But they don't know who I am at all. So when the
They
AI
don't know
comes
who
for
I
all
am
of you,
either.
that's true. They don't know who any of us are. Oh dear.
Yeah, so just prepare to.
It'll be great.
It'll be perfect.
Y'all motherfuckers don't watch us play throughout the year, to tell you the truth. I'm gonna be real with you, and I don't care if I get fined.
I got my sweet jerk. I put some shoes on.
That train is off the tracks.
Who doesn't love the bouncy castle?
Hitler.
Just prepare to. Yeah, so just prepare to be awash in undebeatable goodness.
Welcome, Pacers fans. You are listening to the Undebeatables, your semi-weekly Pacers podcast. Today is April 23rd, 2023, and this is episode 647. Coming to you from Indianapolis, Indiana. I'm your host, Joey Gaffrida, the man behind the dials. This show, we're just talking NBA playoffs. I think it's in the air right now. Joining me this show are two of our three analysts, coast to coast, like buttered toast. First, from Asheville, North Carolina, he's our in-house bartender and former Undebeatable host, mixing up the drinks and the crappy jingles. John Colson.
What is up, Pacer Nation? What is up, Undebeatables? Shout out this week to Ball Punches. Ball Punches, the official sponsor of the NBA. Ball Punches.
From Boise, Idaho, out west, it's our enforcer, John Harper.
What is going on, fellas? Shouting out Timberwolves fans. Watched quite a bit of playoff basketball, and still the only game where I didn't get a refs you suck chant. Minneapolis, St. Paul. Shout out T-Wolves.
All right.
Nice civilized Midwesternness.
Also got a lot of calls in that game, but, you know, is what it is. Cat or baby?
Before we... that's cat. So it's post... once the sun goes down, all the... she pulls out all the stops, She's been holding it all. The baby's been, awake all day, and she's been holding it in. Now that he's asleep, light him up.
Sort of talk to each other.
She wakes him up, yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
Well, before we get into the show, we'd like to remind you that you can support us, the longest running Pacers podcast, by heading over to patreon.com/undebeatables, and you can support us for as little as $1 per month. Members get access to our Slack, which there's been a lot of playoff discussion. It's been kind of fun. And I don't know. There's been a little bit of trash talking, Kawhi, and
Paul George.
There's some good. I mean, it's implied, but yes. And then some good articles getting people posting up there.
And you could find all this stuff. All you got to do is give us what is it, like $100 a month or something like that?
For $100 a month, I'm sure you'll give them a...
We'll give them admin to our Slack.
Right.
They're now the CEO of
Yeah.
Undebeatables.
You have God powers.
Colson will give you a guided tour of all the channels.
It's easy as that, folks.
All right. So, as we mentioned, it's playoff time, of course, right now, springtime, and we want to look, starting in the Eastern Conference, in the 1-8 matchup, the Milwaukee Buckaroos are playing the Miami Heat, and the 8th seed is up 2-1. Colson, what happened?
Well, a couple things happened. Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Non-factor.
Well,
Next question.
Yeah, absolutely. Total non-factor. What's up?
yeah, he hasn't been playing. He fell and hurt his lower back in Game 1. And of course, if you don't listen to the pod or watch basketball, then you won't be hearing this. But he was an MVP candidate this season.
It's incisive analysis from Colson.
He's very important for the Bucks. And but what I would say is that the Heat were beating the snot out of the Bucks when Giannis went down. I have watched a lot of basketball this week, and the Heat are one of the, I think, few teams that are playing playoff intensity basketball, playing with force and precision in a way that a lot of other teams aren't, and it's been odd watching some of these games. The Heat look really good and dangerous, and I think the Bucks should be very afraid.
I think the Bucks probably are very afraid. The status of Giannis Antetokounmpo is a big question. Jimmy Butler goes down in Game 3 with what turns out to be a bruised glute. Word on the street is he could have come back if he needed to, but they won that game going away by 22 or whatever it was. So
Yeah.
Miami's up, 2-1. But really all the Bucks have to do to take this series back is win Game 4, and they will have recaptured home court advantage. So if Giannis can play and is healthy in Game 4, that could arguably be the best game of the first round. Because I agree, Miami looks really tough right now. They're juiced. But the Bucks are just not the same team without the best player on the planet.
Oh, well, I think that's totally fair. They have a great supporting cast. I love Drew Holiday. I love Chris Middleton. I like Joe Ingles, and I guess Grayson Allen is, got distinguished temples. I don't know. I think my only issue with this team is that they've been sloppy, and they've been bullied by this Miami team, and I just am a little worried. This is a team that won the championship but just a couple of years ago, and they look like you're getting punked. So, I mean, I know they won Game 2 without Giannis. I know that. They won it at home. But Game 3 was, I thought, a wake-up call. Another thing about this Miami game is that they were up, 28-29, and in like the fourth quarter, and they still had Adebayo and Victor Oladipo on the court, and Victor goes down with a knee injury, and it looks pretty ugly. So
Non-contact.
yeah, he went up for the ball, and just his knee went out from him, and he just slid underneath the basket, and seems scary, especially with his knee history. If I'm, I think Eric Spoelstra is a very good coach, but I think, maybe a guy that with a knee injury history, maybe who's potentially your seventh man, probably should not be playing heavy minutes at that point. So
Vic is not a huge part of what they do. I don't know that his playing or not playing is going to turn the tide in this series either way.
I don't know. I mean, we'll see.
Better him than Jimmy Butts.
Oh, for sure.
I just, without Giannis Antetokounmpo, the Bucks just need a lot more stuff to go right. They need to be hitting more shots, especially around the perimeter. They need big games from, Middleton is consistent and a good two-way player, but they need really good games from, Drew Holiday and, great rebounding from Bobby Portis, and sometimes that's not even enough. So much of their toughness just revolves around Giannis and his ability to just be a monster.
Well, and I thought, as we look at this, this team without Giannis, I think Brook Lopez was a top 3 defensive player of the year candidate. I think people consider Drew Holiday one of the best perimeter defenders in the league, and Chris Middleton, one of the premier defensive wing defenders in the league, and without Giannis, they don't look that good. I mean, they look fine. They're fine, but Giannis makes all of their jobs easier. It makes them all be able to press up, makes them all be able to be more aggressive because Giannis cleans up the mistakes. And when he's gone, they just look like fine defenders instead of elite ones.
And that's very true. I mean, of those guys, there's quite a few overrated defenders in there, but at the top of that list is probably Brook Lopez. Not because Brook is a bad defender. He's a very good post defender, but especially when you face him up against someone with Adebayo with elite quickness, laterally, vertically, it's just not a good matchup for him. And Adebayo is so good when he's in his element and can really take advantage of space on the floor that it's not what that team was built to do. Antetokounmpo is the guy who cleans up those messes. And without him, they're in real trouble. I mean, like I said, all you have to do is win game 4, and this thing can swing back to you very quickly. You knew it was going to be hard to win game 3 in Miami with how hyped that crowd was going to be, at least until halfway through the fourth quarter when they went out the doors. But, until then, crowd was into it.
Well, and, I don't remember exactly, but the most decisive percentage on wins outside of Game 7, of course, because that determines the series. But I think it's Game 5 is the most deterministic, whoever wins that one. Game 3 is the second most, and Game 1's the third most. Game 3 is a big win.
Game 7 is the most deterministic.
Yes, it definitely determines all of it. It's 100% on that one. But I think Game 5 and in Game 3, when a series is split 1-1, is very determinative. So, it was a big win for Miami. Still a long series. You're right. They can right the ship. All the Bucks have to do is tie this thing up in Game 4.
What's Giannis looking like?
He is day-to-day, I think.
Okay.
Probable for Game 4, I think is what I saw.
Okay.
So, in addition to the 100% Game 7 winners, Game 5 is 82.8. And Game 3, 71.8. So
see, there you go. I knew some stuff. I just didn't have the stats to back it up. But I'm not the stat guy. I'm the Monet guy.
How brave of you to call yourself that. All right. Looking at the other end of the potential matchup for the winners of that the matchup. The number 4 Cleveland Cavaliers playing the number 5 New York Knickerbockers. And again, underdogs are up. This one 3-1. New York is up, winning games 1, 3, and 4.
Joe, what's going on with your boys?
Yeah, seriously, dude.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I think that they're a team that is... I think they're just a team that is not ready for the spotlight today. I think they're a good... this is a building year. This is going to be This is looking like it's going to be a year where they learn a lot of things in potentially an early exit from the playoffs. That's what I'm seeing.
Sure is starting to look that way. I mean, I think if you told them that at the, even at the beginning of the year, they'd have been disappointed. After the Donovan Mitchell trade and before the playoffs, I think they'd have, turned that into bulletin board material. I mean, it's not like New York comes to the table with a ton of playoff experience here. That's sort of the confounding part about this. I mean, Donovan Mitchell and Jalen Brunson are the entirety of the playoff experience in this thing. But New York has just looked like the better team. It's tough. It's tough.
Yeah, no, I mean, you're right a little bit on the playoff experience, but this New York team did get into the first round and beat last couple of years. Maybe not consecutively, but they've lost before. Uh, and I think the Cavs have looked really young. Like, I mean, I think Jared Allen and Mobley look unprepared for the moment. Garland's had a spectacular game too, and then has looked. He didn't look good in game one, but it's looked fairly good in the rest of the series. I'm just surprised by this. We've talked about this before. They have a top 5 offense, a top 5 defense. They should be doing something special here. I think it speaks to the youth, but I think it also speaks to their depth. They're relying an awful lot on Karis LeVert to do a lot of things. And I love Karis LeVert. He was a Pacer. But we as Pacer fans know that if you rely on him to do a bunch of things, it is a diminishing return. He's either hot or he's not. And in game 2 when they won, he was great. He's actually been pretty solid in games 3 and 4 as well. But that's not what you need to rely on to win a playoff series. So I think they need probably 2 more rotation players and a couple more years of seasoning. I'm surprised. I really liked the Cavs team going into this playoffs. I thought they could maybe even make it to the Eastern Conference Finals, and I was wrong.
I mean, this thing is just a rock fight. There has been at least one team that didn't break 100 in every one of these games, and one game where nobody broke 100. That doesn't happen in the NBA. Cleveland threw up 79 points in game 3. I mean,
do you want a fun stat about 79 points? There wasn't a single game in the entire season where any team didn't score at least 80 points all season long.
I mean, there were teams that flirted with that and a half. I mean, you just can't stop into the playoffs and do that. And, whatever. Donovan Mitchell is very good. And, maybe Mobley hasn't been everything that you wanted him to be, but he's shown real flashes, right? I mean, certainly you want more, but the kid is just a ton of talent. In fact, Giannis Antetokounmpo, when asked about Mobley earlier this week, said that Mobley can be better than me. It's up to him. And that
he has all the tools.
That is just a level of praise that, very few people in the NBA can hope to get. I agree. There's too much on LeVert's plate here. But, it's not like I didn't look at the Knicks as a super balanced team coming into this either. A lot of Jalen Brunson and a lot of Julius Randle. But, today they got, big effort from RJ Barrett. Josh Hart has been excellent in this series.
He has been. Julius Randle is, a very imperfect star. Watching him is pretty frustrating, but Brunson kind of gets whatever he wants, which is, pretty cool for the Knicks.
Brunson doesn't get; he creates whatever he wants. I mean,
just
the guy
bully balls his way to everything.
at like 6'1". I mean, it's impressive to watch the guy work. He knows where he wants to go. He always has a plan. He's been really impressive in this series. He's
been great. Yeah.
I really underrated this guy coming out of Dallas and just how good he was going to be. He has been so special. And watching the him v. Mitchell thing has been fantastic to watch because they're 2 really fun players on opposite sides of the ball. This is still a fun series. I really, really hope the Cavs can claw their way back in. I really do. But, that New York crowd was too much for them.
Yeah. I wanted this one going 7. And maybe it still will. But we'll see.
You got to be able to throw up triple digits. You just got to be able to do it.
The Cavs are having trouble doing that. When you need Karis LeVert to shoot 25 times, it's probably not happening.
Moving on down the bracket, the Philly Brooklyn one is done. Swept out. Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving abandoned this team and put them in this place, and now they are where they are, which is on a beach now, on vacation.
Yeah, no, I at the outing of this show, I said ball punches. Game 3 of this, there was semi-contact with some balls, and then some real contact with some balls, and Harden got ejected, but Embiid didn't. Lots of ball punching going on this week. We'll talk more about it as we go further. Even without Harden, and then Embiid missed game 4, or he missed game 3.
You missed game 4.
I missed game 4. Didn't matter. They're just a better team.
Didn't even kind of matter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought
no
game
one broke
3 was
100 in that
one-
game. No one
game
had
three.
to.
Game 3 was the one that I thought the Brooklyn had a chance at, and they just fell apart down the stretch. So look, they're rebuilding after they traded Durant. They've got a good piece in Mikal Bridges, and we'll see where they end up in a couple of years. But this team was not actually good enough to be in this position. They were just riding off of a different team. So
they were, winding down from the talent that they had before, and happened to, if the season was longer, they would have not been in the playoffs.
yeah. But I'm glad they were there instead of some trash team like the Wizards. Like, this is fine.
Here.
If you're the Bucks, you just got to be so annoyed.
Right?
I mean, not every 3 team draws a 6 like a demolished Brooklyn Nets team. I mean, you can't get luckier than that. Philly really didn't look that up. I mean, they swept this series, but on some level, they also didn't look up to the task.
They didn't look that good. Yeah, you're right.
The rest is going to be a huge deal for them, especially for Embiid. We'll see what happens, I guess. But, they weren't super dominant. I mean, they were barely breaking 100 most of this series. So
The last Eastern Conference matchup, the number 2 seeded Boston Celtics up 2-1 over the 7th seeded Atlanta Hawks. I'll be honest with you, I was surprised to see Atlanta take one. Game 4, they're playing as we speak, but I don't know. I thought Boston was going to be closer to a sweep, but Colson, what do you think about this series?
Yeah, no, you're completely right. The Hawks just went bananas. They put up 130 points.
Yeah,
and the Celtics are considered one of the better defending teams in the NBA, and their backcourt, Trae Young and Murray, were just kind of able to score at will, and I don't know. I feel like this is one of those games where the difference was going to be 3-point shooting, but it was actually just rebounding. And it didn't earn the Hawks a ton of extra possessions, but they kind of controlled the paint or the glass, and I don't know. I think this we're currently watching the Celtics beat up on the Hawks in Game 4. It's not out of, it's pretty much out of range at this point. So looks like the Celtics are going to win Game 4, and this should have been a sweep. But the Hawks got it done. So good on them. Boston's way better. Took their eye off the ball slightly, but this is a wrap. Boston's got a real chance to go to the finals because I think Philly looks imperfect. I think Milwaukee has looked more imperfect than I thought. But of course, without Giannis, but even his supporting cast has looked shakier than I thought. And outside of Miami, I don't see anybody stepping in the way of the Celtics going to the finals at this point.
it's hard to win on the road in the NBA, especially in the playoffs. I'm glad Atlanta got one.
Okay.
It's a good town. Go Atlanta.
It is a good town.
I think that Boston should definitely take to heart the fact that they're getting out rebounded by 5 guys on the other team. They don't have an elite rebounder on that team, and there are real contenders that they will be facing very soon that have super elite rebounders, and they had better get it together.
In Philly and in Milwaukee, yeah.
And Jason Tatum leading your team with 10 rebounds is not what you need to win a series. Mm-hmm. So they better get some guys out there who are going to go crash them boards.
Yeah. All right, we finished the Eastern Conference, and I think it's about time to take a little bit of time out for our Stat of the Week.
Stat of the Week!
So this week, we are mostly going to be talking about a player who's not in the playoffs. James Johnson, who was clearly wanted by the Pacers and dropped him waived him during the trade to make room for some of the new players that were coming in, and it was a temporary move, and they just immediately re-signed him as soon as they could because they wanted him around. And apparently, one of the reasons they wanted him around is because he is feared around the league.
So you're saying they wanted him back because they're afraid of him?
Well, if there's somebody out there that you're scared of, you can either, have them on your team or you can have them on somebody else's team. So, I don't know. I mean, you've told me repeatedly, like, you don't like Harper, but you're scared of him and you don't want him podcasting somewhere else.
Sure. Yeah.
And here I am.
Yeah.
Keep the people you're terrified of closer, and
that's always been the saying.
Nailed it.
Something like that.
But James Johnson, there was an anonymous poll set out, and it was 108 players across the NBA. And one of the questions that was asked, it was from the Athletic, and one of the questions was, "Who in the league would you least like to fight?" And James Johnson earned 41.1% of the 90 votes submitted. So, the guy at the end of the Pacers bench is the most feared man in the league.
Didn't see a lot of minutes this year. Didn't matter, huh?
Yeah, he's 6'7", 240. He has a black belt in karate, and he's said to have a kickboxing record of 20-0. Also, his nickname is Bloodsport. So, I don't know. I feel like...
Doesn't really sound like a guy you want to mix it up with.
I mean, yeah, it's like, if he earned that nickname, let's maybe stay away.
You think he's in the locker room with doing the splits on 2 chairs like Jean-Claude Van Damme?
Let's hope so. I would hope he would be doing that. I would hoping he'd be doing that in the opposing team's locker room.
Oh, I see.
Yeah,
so you
right.
just walk into your locker room and you just see James,
and they just go, "Oh, okay.
Yeah, no."
So 90 people voting on this is like, I don't know, like a fifth of the league. Like, that's a pretty big percentage.
It's yeah.
Now we don't know who they are. They made it anonymous on purpose.
But it seems like at least around half of them are afraid of James Johnson. And they didn't put out are you afraid of this guy, this guy, this guy? They just it was a write-in candidate, right? That's right, how much he's feared.
I think. I didn't check the methodology that closely, but yeah, that seems right.
The other let's see. So the second one was Steven Adams, and I think that's
very fair as well.
Isn't he from a weird island country? Yeah, you don't mess with those dudes.
I think he's New Zealand. I think, and
that's a weird island country.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, it is an island country. I mean, he probably grew up fighting hobbits and stuff,
Like
kicking
he was
hobbits,
eating hobbits, fighting orcs.
Hobbits, yeah. Okay. One player says he loves to wrestle. So, anyway,
Well, this is awesome. So do we remember how old James Jones is? He's like 38, something like that. 30.
He goes by James Johnson now.
Usually.
And
Oh, I'm sorry. James Jones is I think probably also like 38, 39. Maybe he's in his 40s now.
I think
think
James
he's-
Jones is older.
Yeah, I think so too. I want to say 35.
Oh,
He's 36.
He's
only
36.
36? Okay.
James Johnson's 36.
All right.
And maybe one of the reasons he's so feared is also because he's from Cheyenne, Wyoming.
You know what? I've been to Cheyenne. You don't mess with those guys. Any of them.
Yeah.
Either of them?
No. No, there's like 12 people there.
Okay, fair enough.
You don't mess with them.
Well,
Point well
there
taken.
used to be more, and then some guy named Bloodsport showed up.
He kicked them all, ate them all, and then yeah. Okay. So do we resign this guy next year too? Like we just want to have like the most feared guy in the NBA on our team.
I would love to keep him in our system, but we have so many draft picks.
Yeah, we do. We have a lot of draft picks. Stay tuned to the end for our draft pick talk. What do they call that in the biz? A stinger?
And that's not a stinger.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if you're capable of doing a stinger.
Hey, look, you have to stay to the bitter end and go through all these advertisements to get to the.
They're just gonna for the folks that are thinking about, like, listen, I gotta know what they're thinking about these draft picks. They're just gonna fast forward to the end. You can't stop them.
No,
What are you gonna do?
It's like a post credit scene on our show. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's a stinger. Leave me alone.
All right. Before we get into the Western Conference, I did want to bring up a little more stats. This is an unofficial stat of the week, but it's exclusively stats. So that's not material for stat of the week, you know. So the Basketball Reference runs playoff probabilities, championship probabilities, and right now the team leading, and this is, I think they probably ran it last on Friday, would be my guess, or maybe even yesterday. But the number one team projected to win the finals is the Boston Celtics with almost 28%. The team behind them would be the 76ers, 14%. And then the third team would be the Denver Nuggets at 12% odds to win the championship.
Boo.
And then the only other team in double digits would be the Cavs at 10%. But they're only 40% to get out of the first round.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Not looking very good as of tonight.
No, it's not looking great.
Yeah.
Joe, I think that, I had my questions about the Nuggets before this playoff started. I thought, maybe the Timberwolves would be frisky, and I think the Nuggets have looked like one of the more complete teams in this playoffs, buddy. I don't understand how they're at 12%.
I mean, really, what I'm seeing out of Basketball Reference is a heavy weight towards the Eastern Conference. There's not much love being given to anybody in the Western Conference right
I'm
now.
a little surprised that Phoenix has not showed up stronger in that. That would be a really nice dark horse bet if you've got a little bit of money that you'd love to give away.
Yeah, they're at 6.5% for the championship.
They have got some horses in the stable.
They have 4 horses in the stable, and maybe, you could call Torrey Craig half a horse. I worry about their depth.
You saying he's half-ass?
No. I guess I am saying that. I think my main concern is that they're playing Booker and Durant and like a 50-year-old Chris Paul like 40 minutes a night. Like,
let's wait on the analysis on those. But I do want to talk about the 1-8 matchup first.
If that's your concern, you should probably be more concerned that Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic have the biggest jump from regular season to postseason scoring in like the history of the NBA.
Oh, nice. Okay.
They are so reliant on those guys.
All right, 1-8.
Well, it's working. They're up 3-0 right now, and Denver is very much in control of the series. The games have been mildly competitive, but Denver's a better team here. I mean, Harper, do you see a path for Minnesota to what can they take away from this series?
Yeah, I mean, all they need is Anthony Edwards to score like 40 wait, he's doing that, and they're down 3-0. That is a bummer. Anthony Edwards
to be the first team to come back from a 3-0 deficit in NBA playoff history.
I mean, no. I mean, clearly it's not going to happen, right? I mean, look, we should take this opportunity to give Anthony Edwards his props, man. I mean,
Sure.
What he's doing is absolutely historic. There's like, I can't remember what the stats are now, but it's like the most scorings is like, besides like LeBron and Kobe at his age. Yeah. Like, the dude's just absolutely tearing it up out there. And his team is nowhere to be found.
Yeah, but Dylan Brooks would just shut him down. So
I mean, he'd hold him to at least 39 and a half. That would be.
Because if he scored over 40, it would be a problem. But then you just dick punch people.
Look, this team's construction never made any sense to me. I thought it was great that they got Mike Conley. Somehow that made slightly more sense to me. But this whole Twin Tower experiment was not the right play. It just was not the right play. And they gave up so much to do it.
So much. Their entire future.
Not their entire future. I mean, the good news is that I don't think most people, even people living in Minnesota, understands how good Anthony Edwards is and can become. This kid is so damn special. He's going to be a monster going forward. They need to reconstruct that team around him. It sucks they gave up all those draft picks. It was really is hurtful.
4 first rounds and a couple swaps. Is that what it was?
And yeah, talent around it. It's a mess. But Anthony Edwards is awesome. There's a real silver lining here. Winning a one-night matchup was always going to be tough. They didn't perform well enough in the regular season to deserve to advance past here. Anthony Edwards is doing his part. I keep hoping Big Cat is going to be better. At this point, it's not going to happen.
Yeah, it was funny. It was a game 3. He put up like 27. He did his job. And then Gobert put up like 18 and 10. And Anthony Edwards put up like his 40. And you're like, okay, this is the best case scenario, right? This is what we're asking from them.
They're maximizing their talent right now.
And they still lost. And you're like, okay, well, there you go. I think you got to look at, I mean, I don't think you can get anything for Gobert. I think he's a sunk cost. I think you got to, this offseason or next season, trade Big Cat and see what you can get for him, right? I mean, this is bad. This is bad news.
Well, as we speak,
what do you get for Gobert?
Game 4 tips off. We'll see. I mean, just Gobert's contract is a mess.
Yeah. And they spent so much money on. That's what I mean about sunk cost. Like, you can't get 4 draft picks for Gobert right now. At that point, so
you can't get 4 second rounders for him.
Probably not.
Not after he hit his teammate on national TV. It does not help.
Yeah.
You better be playing pretty damn well before you start hitting your teammates. And he's not playing that well.
How well do you have to play to
really damn well?
Draymond Green well, I guess, because you can hit pool and then just keep playing.
Well, but he didn't
got
do that.
Suspended for a little bit.
Wait, at the beginning of the season.
Yeah.
If he'd have done that yesterday,
he probably
would have been tougher. You got to play Anthony Edwards good. That's what you got to do.
Yeah.
Anthony Edwards could pop Gobert in the face and would not miss a game.
I think most of the team would probably cheer.
All right, Colson, I know this one's got you wound up. The 4-5 Suns Clippers matchup. You said Chris Paul is 50 and is, something's working.
Well, no. So I guess my point, what I'm excited about for this series is that so the Clippers are down 3-1. They went ahead and split in Phoenix. And they're without Paul George, of course, but they had a healthy Kawhi Leonard, and looking great. Kawhi Leonard in the first half of Game 2 looked like the best player on the planet. He was doing whatever he wanted to do offensively and defensively, just ripping it away from KD, just creating havoc, scoring at will. They ended up losing that game, but you leave Phoenix with a split. You're feeling great. And then Kawhi Leonard's unavailable for Game 3 and Game 4. Sore knee, I guess.
Are you supposed to do load management in the playoffs? Is that a thing?
Well, so this is my thing, right? He only played like 2/3 of the season so he could be ready for the playoffs. And then now he's basically only playing half the games in the playoffs. Look, I don't want to talk about a guy's pain tolerance or his injuries like that. Whatever. He can be hurt. But this seemed an awful lot like... What's the German word for this?
Schadenfreude?
Maybe. Is that where I take joy in other people's pain?
That's what that is.
Yeah. It seemed like a perfect thing for Kawhi to do, is to load manage pivotal Game 3 and at home. The exciting part, I think, that came out of him resting is that Russell Westbrook went bananas and looks like the old Russell Westbrook. He is all over the floor. He's doing everything he wants. He's attacking.
Run down blocks.
Yeah, I mean, he's getting triple doubles.
He's trying and stuff.
He's playing defense and stuff.
He's trying and stuff.
Like he's actually giving Durant trouble on the defensive end. Like he's been good. He's been really good. But this thing's out of reach unless Kawhi Leonard comes back from his load management and can steal a couple games here. Maybe that's what he's doing. Maybe he's just resting and he'll be back in Game 5.
I mean, it's impossible to say. If you're a Clippers fan and you know Paul George is out, the thing that you're asking of your superstar is go out there and play. If I haven't seen you go out there and limp and not be able to physically compete, that is one thing. We haven't seen that. His knee hurts. We don't know what that looks like.
Right.
The doctors are probably the people in charge, but I haven't heard anything about structural damage. So
no.
It seems like soreness. And
and what they said, what they said about Giannis was if this was a Game 7, he'd be there. We aren't hearing anything like that about Kawhi. Just like, no, he's not playing. His knee hurts.
It just doesn't seem like that dude likes basketball.
Yeah.
I think he'd be in the building at least, right?
Maybe. Sometimes he's not. Yeah, it's so frustrating if you're a Clippers fan. And I was making a rant before that about Phoenix. I've been concerned about how thin they look. I mean, they're having trouble finding a sixth guy to play on this team right now. Can they win this series? Certainly. I think they will win this series, especially if Kawhi is going to continue to play every other game. But I even mentioned their name as a chance to win the finals a couple weeks ago. I don't know if you can go, 2.5 months playing every other night without at least 7 guys. You got to have 7 guys in the playoffs.
They had to put real minutes in for a dude named Landale. So
have you ever heard of him?
No, he was on the floor. I was like, who the is this dude? They're not the deepest in the league, but Devin Booker, Chris Paul, DeAndre Ayton, Kevin Durant. If they can get to winning time, they sure have a lot of guys who can get the job done.
Yeah, and as we've talked about, I mean, the West is apparently wide open according to Vegas, according to the odds, and to the eye test, like, and all season, like all these teams played 500 basketball all year, so like who knows? They could put together, all you got to do is win 4 games every series. It's possible. I think it's gonna be a lot of wear and tear on these guys.
I will say for the Clippers, I really hope GMs are looking around the league and people who just want the instant gratification of building a super team. I hope they're looking at the Nets. I hope they're looking at the Clippers. It's not a good thing for the NBA that this was going on to begin with, and the results that that it has yielded in Dallas Mavericks now has been so poor. I really hope that GMs just are learning from this because or maybe I'm hoping that they don't, I guess. I don't know. Unclear. It definitely doesn't work, though.
All right. This is an interesting one. The 3-6 matchup in the West. Sacramento Kings versus the Golden State Warriors. Tied up 2-2. Draymond Green. This was not load management, anger management maybe? I don't know. He got a game off for his I don't know, whatever that was.
He stomped on Sabonis' chest.
Unsportsmanlike contact would be the nice way to say that. He did stomp on Sabonis' chest.
What did we say last week? How long is it going to be before the two of them get in a fight? And I think Harper said Sabonis isn't going to want to do anything without the refs backing him up. You're right, though. Sabonis held on to Draymond's leg, pissed him off. Draymond went with an actual force, stepped on his chest.
Probably. It's honestly, it's a little hard to tell. And
I don't
Sabonis,
know.
it didn't matter if it had been a love tap. Sabonis was going to lay there for an hour and a half and
grab his sternum and all that stuff. Yeah, for sure. But got Draymond a suspension. It didn't matter. Warriors still win Game 3 without Draymond. This is and Steph Curry was in FU mode. He is so good. I was trying to think as I was watching this game today. So we watched Game 4 earlier today. I'm trying to think about how many just bloodless playoff snipers there are in the history of the game. Like he's always ready for the moment, and if he smells blood,
bloodless.
Well, yeah. I mean, he smells
blood.
He smells blood and he just goes after it. He's like a shark in the water.
So he's bloodless, but he wants blood.
Yeah, that's why he needs blood. He's bloodless.
He's a vampire. Obviously.
Exactly. He needs blood.
Okay.
He smells blood and he goes after the blood. It's a mixed metaphor, Joey. Leave me alone. There's a shark and a vampire. I don't know.
And James Johnson was there. His name was Bloodsport. I don't know.
But he's got to be one of the great assassins of all time. The blood assassin. I don't know.
Doris Burke referred to him as underrated today. Steph Curry, first ballot Hall of Famer. A guy with a resume.
Greatest shooter of all time. 4 rings.
Unequivocally, without doubt. And she referred to him as potentially underrated.
Wow.
And it's not a crazy thing to say. The guy...
No, I mean, that's what I agree. He certainly can be still a liability on defense. That's where you can just go after him. We've seen it before, and but it takes the right team to to execute that. It depends on the matchups there and the talent pool on the other side of that. You got to have the guards to do that.
Absolutely. And as poor as he is in the post, or even in the open court, he's got super quick hands. He will turn you over.
Yeah,
he steals a lot of basketballs.
Mm-hmm. And
deflects a lot more.
And because he's such a good shooter, people forget how good his finishing is around the rim. I don't know if there's a better finisher. I mean, he's got so many shots around the rim that he can make go down that just don't make any physical sense to me. The guy's a magician.
Well, and everybody talks about Kyrie is probably the best handles in the league. Steph Curry's got to be on that list, right? I mean, he's fantastic. He just does kind of whatever he wants. Brilliant player and in his bag in Game 3 and in Game 4. Honestly, I was very frustrated by Game 4, and I'm kind of mad at Mike Brown. Their team is down 1 with 10 seconds to go. Coach of the Year Mike Brown draws up the play. We throw it to Fox, who is, clutch player of the year. Dribbles around into, he's double teamed. He dribbles around with 2 guys and then throws it to Harrison Barnes for a missed 3. And Sacramento misses a chance to steal a game and really change this series. I don't understand why you don't throw it to the post to Sabonis to get 2 points. You're only down 1. Against, he's got 5 inches on Draymond Green. Now, granted, Draymond Green's a great defender, but Sabonis is the best passer on the team. Why not let him make that decision? I was very confused by the entire thing, and I think they missed a chance to maybe win this series. Now, there's still a chance they do. It's tied 2-2. The Warriors have been bad on the road. Both teams have great home court advantage, so maybe this thing goes to Game 7, but I thought the Kings really missed a chance here in Game 4.
I certainly agree with that. I don't know about posting up Sabonis. He has not had a good series. I mean, in Game 3, he got outplayed by Kevin Looney.
I agree.
You can't have that. Kevin Looney ripped down 20 rebounds against the Kings. Can't have it.
You're not wrong.
They definitely needed something going towards the rim. There's no two ways about that. I don't understand how in love coaches are. I understand why players are in love with the 3. I don't understand why coaches are in love with the 3. Get something going to the rim.
You're down 1. You don't have to go for a 3.
And you can draw contact. There's just a lot of ways to score once you get 2 feet in the paint. Anyway, the reverse is also true. The Warriors had every chance to steal Game 1 of this series, and had they done that, this thing looks very different too.
Sure.
Yes, the Warriors look susceptible here. They look weak. Their road play has not been good. But by evening this thing out, it's down to a 3-game series. They're really dangerous.
You kind of got to, even if it goes, if Sacramento can win Game 5 and Warriors win Game 6, you're going into Game 7, even on the road. You got to give it to the experience, right? Like this is a very compelling series. It's the series I wanted to watch, and it's become that. The games have been close. If they haven't been close, they've been electric anyway, with just shot making and 3 balls from 40 feet. It's just fun.
Absolutely. De'Aaron Fox, great on him. What a coming out party for this kid.
Superstar.
He'd had the stats all season. He really had. But Sabonis had also had these gaudy stats. Sabonis really hasn't been there in that way in this series.
Yep.
But De'Aaron Fox not only been there for 48 minutes, but in crunch time. The guy has been shooting threes at a clip that you don't expect from him. Mm-hmm. The guy's just a monster. He's putting up that, Donovan Mitchell, Jamal Murray, Ja Morant sort of playoff CV right now. It's really impressive to watch, and the kid's going to be fun for a lot of years to come. So Kings fans should be excited.
Agree with that, and I also want to take a slight victory lap. Harper, I think you said after Game 1 that Monk couldn't replicate his 27 points in Game 1, and you were exactly correct.
32. He had a great Game 1. He had a great Game 1.
You're exactly correct. But he's still been relevant in this series, and I thought he would be.
Except for that Game 3 where he scored.
Well, okay. Game 3 was poor for a lot of people.
It was. Fair enough.
But no, I think he's been relevant. He's somebody that gives the Warriors problems, and I think this is a really good spot for him, and I hope he's found a home here in Sacramento.
I'll tell you, Harrison Barnes has had a good series for them. They've got some players on that team.
Yeah, Keegan Murray is, he had a great
finally came
first
along
quarter.
today.
Yeah,
finally
first quarter in the fourth game, but he's looked like a rookie. When you sort of project them forward and being relevant for the next few years, you can imagine him getting better and stronger and more of an impact. So, good on them. Good on Sacramento.
All right, last series is a contentious one. The number 7 LA Lakers up 2-1 over the nut punching Memphis Grizzlies,
as they've always been known.
Right.
Harper, do you see this one? Game 4 is tomorrow evening, Monday night, with a hot 10 p.m. tip time for the folks on the East Coast. But where do you see this one going, Harper? What do you think of the first 3 games?
Been a weird series.
That is true.
Just been a weird series. You gotta love a little back and forth, guys making noise. Dylan Brooks, man, though, you can go out and poke the bear all you want, but you can't go out and punch him in the nuts.
That is words to live by right there. Yeah. Poke the bear, but just don't punch him in the nuts.
And he did both, right? LeBron and AD are both looking very dangerous. Memphis had this unbelievable season, but especially down the stretch in these games, they are looking vulnerable. They started to get some three-pointers to go down, which is helpful. But LA just kind of looks like the better team right now.
Yeah, no, I think, what was it? John Morant missed game 2 and the team won. Going back to LA, you knew the crowd was going to be crazy, and John Morant came back, and he messed up his hand, and he looked unstoppable. First couple plays, he's kind of
had some bad turnovers in there too.
Bad turnovers, and then he just caught fire. He couldn't miss. He was as good as as I've seen him play on a huge stage on the road, and it didn't really matter because LA was already running away with this thing by the time he sort of showed up. They scored. Memphis scored 9 points in the first quarter to the Lakers 34, something like that.
Yeah, and they were rocking the worst first quarter deficit in the history of the NBA playoffs. Always what you're looking for.
Yeah, so it didn't go great. They, like I said, Dylan Brooks talked a lot of yang about how LeBron James was old, and he doesn't really worry about it until somebody hangs 40 on him, and LeBron can't do that. Well, LeBron came out and he was like, yeah, I'm going to do that. He scored a quick 12 points in the first quarter and then didn't have to score 40 because his team was up the entire game. Watching LeBron, he takes a lot of plays off, and maybe because this was a blowout, he seemed to kind of float. But when he wants to do stuff, he does it explosively, and he's still really impactful. I think he's got enough pieces around him to kind of take the load off of him and allow him to work in those explosive modes. And if this was a closer game, maybe he would have said, I need to show Dylan Brooks what's what. But instead, Dylan Brooks showed him where his balls were and got ejected. So,
if you're a Grizzlies fan, you can be I'm sure you were very excited about the Jaren Jackson, Anthony Davis matchup going into this. If you're an LA fan, you were very confident who the better player was here. When Anthony Davis is healthy, he's a top 5 player.
And aggressive. Yeah.
The guy is a monster. And Jaren Jackson has not been up to the task at all. At all. Anthony Davis has been way better. They're in real trouble.
Austin Reeves looks great. Hachimura looks great. He looked
Rui
great.
Hachimura has been better than most of the Grizzlies.
I agree.
You can't have that.
No, you do not want that. And man, D'Angelo Russell is just a take what you get if he's hot.
He's just a microwave, right? He's either on or he's off.
Man, when he's off, he's really you got to sit him down. And Mike, not Mike Brown, who's the coach for the Lakers?
Darvin Ham,
James Jones,
James Johnson,
James Jones, Ty Lue,
James.
I don't know, Jacques Vaughn, whoever.
Darvin
Ham needs to have a shorter chain on Russell in my mind. He was aggravating.
I actually don't agree with that. D'Angelo Russell is a real player, man. When he's got it going, he can shred you. And Austin
he can,
Reeves
but
has
he
had
also
a good
can
series.
shoot you out of a game by making incredibly poor decisions. He did down the stretch of game 3.
And what was that score in game 3?
It got closer than it should have been, is all I'm saying.
Which is a great opportunity to let him build some confidence because come game 4, they might just game plan Austin Reeves. And if you think that Austin Reeves can overcome a Memphis Grizzlies game plan, I'm a little nervous about that one. D'Angelo Russell maybe has the athleticism to do that. Austin Reeves is an effort and opportunity player. D'Angelo Russell can make stuff happen, but I look. I don't disagree with you. His decision making can be very questionable.
Is poor.
It when he's on, he can change a game.
Sure. Yeah. He can hit from anywhere, but he can also shoot from anywhere even when he's not on. I want to say Austin Reeves looks like me when I graduated from college. There's no
he does not.
There's no muscle on that bone. He's like a $130. And
he's
like,
a foot taller than you, but other than
okay, maybe he's that. That's true. But he just does not look like an athlete. It's just amazing. Yeah. He's so gifted. He's a gifted shooter and a ball handler, but man, he does not look like an athlete.
I agree. Worth mentioning too, the Lakers still have guys in their stable that they haven't even broken out yet. Like I know Tristan Thompson is not a series changer, but he is a guy who can come out and works his butt off and can rip down 10 offensive boards. Mo Bamba is a real player.
Tristan Thompson, I think, he's building on his experience as a pacer, right? Like,
That's exactly where
if you'll recall, we traded him away after like 3 games because he was winning too much. So I think he's worth putting on the floor if we need to. We were trying to tank, and he came in and got like a bunch of rebounds and won us a game. And we're like, yeah, we can't have that, Tristan. You got to go.
Bye.
It's nice. It's nice to have options as a coach, and there's still a couple of cards left in the deck. So.
For sure.
Like I said, I think Memphis is in real trouble in this one. I picked them to win this series, but I just when LeBron and AD are playing really well, they're better than the guys who are just drawing at them.
This is crazy, though, that we could have a 7-2 upset and potentially a 6-3 upset in the West and 5-4 upset in the East. Like there's not a lot of upsets in the
or maybe a
NBA.
1-8.
Yes, also a 1-8. That's also happened.
Burying the lead there, my friend.
Yeah. This is crazy. This is normally the there's usually one upset maybe or two, but like the NBA playoffs goes chalk a lot. So this is especially in the first round.
Did you say chocolat?
Chocolat. I love who was in that? Like, give me a second. I got this. No, I don't. Nicolas Cage.
He's in everything.
I don't think that's true.
It speaks to the parity in the league. It really does. There's a lot of really good teams out there. I mean, shit. Dallas Mavericks have Luka Doncic, a legitimate MVP candidate, and couldn't even make the dance.
Johnny Depp was in it.
Yeah, Nicolas Cage, same guy.
Same thing, yeah. It's possible to tell the difference.
I really like the idea of Nicolas Cage in Pirates of the Caribbean.
I thought you were going to say you like the idea of Amber Heard shitting in Nicolas Cage's bed.
Also,
it was a weird time.
Joe, go ahead, Joe.
No. You go.
Oh, I just wanted to. I think we went ahead and sent out a little trailer. What did we send out? A little something on the stinger we were going to put out. I don't know how words work.
Why did I let you go first?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, Joe.
I don't know. I was going to wrap up the show.
I know, and what I'm saying is we're supposed to go to the stinger.
What's the stinger again?
It's the thing that happened with the Pacers draft pick. It's a big deal. That's what the fans have been waiting for the entire show, buddy. Right.
So, yeah. So what was the deal with that? There was a tie.
Yeah.
So
the Wizards were tied with the Pacers at the end of the season.
Right.
7-8 spot, and the league had to flip a coin. And
they
the
didn't
Pacers
have
won
to. This is just the garbage rules that they came up with.
And the Pacers won the coin toss. So now, for the number one pick in the lottery, the Pacers have 68 balls and the Wizards have 67.
Suck it!
Suck it, Wizards! No, this is actually, it's not just that one ball percentage point, 6.7 versus 6.8. It's also a bigger deal as far as Pacers now are locked into, everybody in the lottery has a chance to get 1 through 4. And if you don't get that, if you don't get into the first 4, you're stuck in a window of your positioning. If we had stayed at the 8th spot, we'd be stuck between 8 and 12 with our picks. But because we got the 7th pick because of the coin flip, we're now stuck between 7 and 11. So that's a whole draft pick difference.
Yeah, potentially on how things shake out. That is really good news.
Deal. Yeah.
The bad news is that we had 3 other tiebreakers and
lost all of them.
Probabilistically, we lost all of the other 3, but they're later in the first round. There's also some complexity in those. So,
Yeah, so we got the 26th
we'll find
pick
out on
instead of the 25th
night,
pick. There's a couple other things, right? And we may have lost the 31st pick is now the 32nd pick, or it turned into the 55th pick.
Well, but it depends on how other teams draw in the lottery as well, right? There's just a ton of complexity.
Of stuff going on. Yeah.
So,
but we lost all of the advantage on that as far as the coin flips, correct?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. But we got the coin flip that mattered the most. If you literally would have traded all 3 of those for this. Moving from 8 to 7 is more important than moving from 27 to 28, 28 to 29, 31 to 32, or whatever how it works out, right?
Exactly.
So we got the one that mattered the most. So as a Pacers fan, you should feel pretty good. If I were flipping the coin, if I were drawing the ball, somehow Washington would end up getting a top 3 pick and we would still get hosed in this and it wouldn't matter. But luckily, I'm not in charge of that.
Yeah, so just a reminder. So if you're in the lottery, everybody has a chance to get in the top 4. But the worst 4 teams in the league have a 14% chance to get that. Actually, I think the 4th team has a 12% chance, but to get in that. Now, if your ball drops in the lottery, so right now we have a 6.8% chance to get in that top spot. But if we end in that top 4, somebody in that top 4 gets kicked out, and that can happen behind us or in front of us. That's why we have a range of 7 through 11, right? So if all of the worst 4 teams get kicked out, which is not statistically very likely, but it's possible, we would have to move back to the 11th spot. But if all those people got kicked out, we most likely would be in the top 5.
Yeah, so. That would be because we got it, most likely.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So anyway, it's
so
fun.
Hope for that.
Yeah. just know that you're not going to get the 5th or 6th pick, Pacer Nation. So if you're really looking for the 5th guy
For
in the
Amen
draft,
Thompson's brother, Osser. If that was
You're not getting
who
him.
you
You're not
really
getting
had your heart set on, we're probably not getting him.
I have started some cursory work on the draft, and we will find out May 15th what our actual draft pick is, and then I'll be able to lock down who we're drafting. So.
All right.
So shout out Pacer Nation.
Well,
way to go,
shout
coin
out
flips.
Pacer Nation. Yeah. This was, I think, the coin flips was an underrated part of our strategy this season.
That's true. That's true.
I agree. We should have been using that from day one for Tyrese Halliburton load management, and we'd be 5th instead of 7th. Cat.
Well,
Cat, not baby.
that is a cat.
I mean, if it
cat.
is the baby, I don't think your wife should let your baby crawl
yeah, she
around
probably have-
on your desk at this hour.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Look at that.
No, Yancey's letting us know it is time to get out of here. We will be back with you next week. Until then, you can hit us up on the social medias. We're on Twitter at Undebeatables. Facebook.com/TheUndebeatables. Our website is TheUndebeatables.com. There's also a contact form there. You can use that to send us a message. And email. Shout out at TheUndebeatables.com. And at the website /store, you can buy yourself a small t-shirt.
For the architect, Donnie Walsh, and our once and always Hall of Fame coach, Bobby Sickleard. Turn out the lights, the party's over.
Whenever you don't attack me with your song, I feel like I must have done something good. So I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
No, you're welcome.
Wait,
Wait.
I'm
What?
confused. Joey,
Yeah.
I just need all of you to approve of me. That's all I do. I just do this for approval.
Well,
This is a deep breath.
yeah.
I just pulled the Pacers #1 in the sim lottery.
Nice. Was it your first
Yay.
attempt, or did you do it until we got the #1? Okay. No, I've been looking. There's some guys out there at 7,
Dude.
that I'm excited about.
And guys at 3 and 4.
There are some guys. Although I don't really want to. I'm not sure I want to draft Brandon Miller, who might have murdered somebody,
I don't want to draft Grady Dick.
just because of his name.
100%.
Okay.
Are you just going to call him G Dick the whole season?
And Dick goes up.
Gray Dick goes up. That's just worse.
J-Dick scores.